All right, so this is the completed cardboard prop chest suitcase thing. It's made fully out of cardboard, with the only exception being a couple like little chains and magnets and stuff. These are cut out circles of foil. This is all painted on, like the gold parts and everything. You can see that this box has these two straps, which go over these little attachment points so that the chain can pass through and the lock can, function. And for the specific puzzle I made this for, the players are not given a key, but pretty much anything with enough leverage can open this lock without too much issue. It's fairly resistant despite being made out of cardboard, but if they do want the key, I will spin around here. You can see a couple of hinges here. You can see on the inside, if the camera will focus, that these are wooden dowels that are glued together. It allows the chest to pivot. However, because of how I made it, there is like a significant gap between the top and bottom part, so you can kind of squeeze in there. But let's ignore that for now. On the back here is a space for a riddle, or in this case, a passphrase. When spoken, players will be gifted the key to the lock. If they do not have the key, there is a magical trap that will trigger. However, on the mechanics side, this little piece of paper, what's very nice is it's fully magnetized. So I can reuse this prop in the future and change out whatever secret I want on the back here. And now let's say players have finished, let me adjust this. Players have finished speaking the passphrase, they will be gifted a key. This key, to be specific. This is a toy key with a red foil in the center, and this will be relevant later, but it can be used to just turn the key like this, and the lock opens, and there's two little attachment points. And these are a bit annoying because they're very small, but I didn't have anything larger. And you can unhook it, and the holes are a bit small, so you kind of have to force it through. Come on. There you go. And another one. Oop, well, I'll fix that after. Regardless, once it's open, I would switch these out, but I'm on a time crunch right now, so I'll replace them after. Once that's done, you can remove these, and these are magnetized in several spots to allow the box to close properly. Then you can open it. Ta-da! Look at those hinges work. And so, this is the interior of the box. You will notice a big fucking envelope. This big fucking envelope is meant to be sealed with a sticker. I haven't done that yet because I'm showcasing props. This sticker, to be precise, which will be wrapping over the top, kind of like this. If this sticker is broken, if it is cut through, that will trigger a magical trap. This is a glyph of warding. And what's fun about that is that it's physically visible for players. Now, let's take a look at the contents of the big envelope. We got a spooky note with a additional symbol and a couple passwords and such on the back for plot reasons. And then we have, this is a business card, which is attached to a lovely little note with an identification symbol for a certain NPC. If you open it, inside there is a simple little message. It folds neatly. It's a different shape from most of the other notes to make it stand out. And then we have this note. It looks kind of unimportant, but inside is a little note from a different NPC. And this is a brooch that I painted and covered in a varnish to prevent it from getting destroyed. And on the back here you can see the points, the attachment points. All right, so That's the big envelope. Now, inside, let me get a good view of this, you will see that there is a decal in the back for a couple potions on both sides here, just so it's like visible. These are not trash, these are additional notes that are kind of, that the little like crush points on the paper are meant to obscure certain information. There's 2 of them. Let me show you. So the first one is just a note indicating that some people are being trafficked, but it is the first instance of these symbols, which are numbers in a different language, in this case, Goblin, just to make it a bit more difficult for players to decode what's happening. The next is quite dense with information. This is a very crude map with blacked out location names replaced with symbols, and there is additional context on where to find an entrance. So in this case it says use drainage pipe, or be polite, bring a corpse. And some symbols are ripped up, like this one up here. It's ripped up intentionally so it's not as easy to decipher. There's some red herrings, like these strikes of ink. And hidden, well, not hidden, but harder to see is this right here, these symbols. That is Goblin alphabet, that is a Goblin word. On the back here, more blacked out names and locations and additional instructions for things that could not fit on this map, and a note from the person this chest belonged to before he died. Okay, you must have noticed this in the overhead shot. This is a false coin pouch. You will hear, maybe, that there is something inside. This is rocks, because this little baggie is in fact a bag of devouring, which is a cursed item, and the only thing inside is this, for players to find, as their arm maybe gets devoured by an interdimensional being. Oh, and as soon as there's not stuff in there, it kind of topples because it's top heavy, but whatever. Yeah, here's the rocks. So that's the baggie. Okay, let's remove the decals for now. So these are the potion bottles. There's a couple different varieties. One of them is clearly toxic, and these were printed in black and white. I fully did the color myself on them. All right, inside we have the big boy. This is the ledger. Usually a ledger is like a booklet type thing, but this is a single page because I don't hate my players. I didn't want to fill it out with red herrings. This is the big boy. So you see, everything here is encoded. So these are numbers, Goblin numbers. This is a cipher about the product that is being sold. This is the identification symbol for the client, and this is the location the thing was delivered. These are decipherable because of the map. The map indicates where these location symbols are. These I will show you in a second how they can be deciphered, where the information is found. And this cipher is a very basic cipher. It's a Caesarean cipher, however the fuck you pronounce it. Basically, you take the alphabet and you just switch it by 1. So A becomes B, B becomes C type of thing. But there is a twist. The number here, like 1, means that the degree of the Caesarean cipher is by 1. So everything is flipped by 1. This is 2, so everything is flipped by 2. This is 3, so everything is flipped by 3. So there's no one cipher code. And if you want a visual, here is a Caesarean wheel. Caesar cipher. I've been mispronouncing it. Whoops. Well, crucify me, I guess. So this is the normal alphabet. If you switch it by 1 degree, which is here, then you look at the top letter and you use the bottom letter. That's pretty much it. If players figure out that that's a Caesar cipher, I can't believe I've been pronouncing it wrong. Anyway, if Players figure out it's a Caesar cipher. I'll be giving them this wheel to make their life not miserable. Also, some players know, their characters know Goblin, and in that case I will be giving them, maybe not this booklet, but I have a full alphabet in my stuff. Like this is a custom built, come on, alphabet, here it is, with all the different symbols. But that's not all. There is also numbers right here, and a shit ton of words, which have been translated into their proper Goblin symbols. So it'll be quite an effort to translate if they decide to translate it. The ledger will also have a glyph of warding sigil on it. Now, at the bottom here, you can see these are little cutouts for drugs that are in there. This is a drug lord's chest, who happens to be friends with like a fey creature. And you will see, without everything in there, oh, clearly, this is not the actual bottom for this thing. Let me remove this imposter bottom. Ta-da! And on the edges, to make my life easier, there are little cardboard tabs. And now, you see this false bottom? Looks like nothing, eh? Well, turns out there's something underneath. You remember the key that I gave players? This thing? Well, what's fun is if you press it up against the red, I don't know if the camera will be able to pick it up because it's very faint, but there is like, oh, there you go, you can kind of see a J there. So basically there are the symbols, the unidentified symbols, like this one. This is sideways. And then next to it, there is a name. God, the camera does not do this justice, but regardless, this is a... also, there is a one more hidden on the side here. That does not show up at all. But it's there if players figure it out. Now, what is under the false bottom is... ooh, spooky black envelope that we will check out in a second. And then we have the actual bottom. Even though you see those extra tabs, that's just because I can switch out the bottom as I please. So these are like coins that they can find. This is the actual stash of money, instead of the fake coin pouch that like devours your arm. All right, now you can definitely see how top heavy it is. And this little black envelope, super simple folding. It's folded over on the side here to close it. You just pop it open. And inside is a bunch of additional coins. These are special coins. And this right here is an up-close look at one of these coins. And these are goblin coins. So all around the edges are goblin writing that translate to different things. And drop clues about where this is from and who's involved. And I'm pretty sure that's about it. Yeah, this was a hell of a project, and it took me way too many hours for painting and decorating and figuring out and engineering cardboard to make a functional lock and hinges. But yeah, should be a fun time. Maybe I'll reuse this in the future. We'll see.